Hi guys, Arthur here from Homeowner DIY. In this video, I'm going to do a gutter install. Now this will be a one-piece section that I'm going to install because my current gutter is too small for what I did for a roof or an addition a couple years ago. But this is a fairly easy process. You don't need much to do it. Gutters will last for, I don't know, maybe 20 years. It depends on the quality, if it's plastic, and what do you have around the house. Trees build up your shingles, the type of condition. This will all be a factor in how long your gutters last for. But like with anything else, regular maintenance will help maximize the life of your gutters. So what we'll do now is we'll look at our setup, what we have to work with, and then we'll do material and tools. Alright, so this is my gutter here. You can see how this end is now short because I extended the end a few years ago. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this off. I will grab a new section, I'll cut it to length, I'll punch a hole on this side here, put the two end caps on, reinstall it, and that should be it. Now this should be relatively easy because it's low to the ground, there's nothing in the way. The higher you have to go, the more things you have to contend with can make a simple job like this much more difficult, but at least in this case, this will be nice and easy. So what we'll do now is material and tools. Alright, this is our materials list. So here is my gutter. This is actually a used gutter from a house that was being demolished. I've got 1.5" deck screws. That's going to be to connect the gutter to the fascia. I have a screen for the downspout, clear silicone, and then I have a left and then a right end for the gutter itself. Guys, this is what I need for material for this job. So what we'll do now is the tools list. Alright, so this is my tools list. I have a 10-foot ladder, hand tools, measuring tape, pencil, 4-foot level for safety equipment, earplugs, safety glasses, my cordless kit, impact, grinder, silicone gun, flat file, and then a speed square. This is what I believe I need for tools for this job, so let's get started. Alright, so for our old gutter, we have the downspout that goes here. So all I'm going to do is with my replacement gutter, because I want to keep at least one of these clips as close to the edge as I can, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut somewhere here, and then I'm going to line up that end and this end together. I'll take a measurement for where this is going to be, then I'll punch my hole into this one. After that is done, I need to add just under 2 feet on this side over here for that side there, and then that'll be my full run. This is going to eliminate any technical measuring for installing this gutter. Alright, so I'm going to cut this section off here. So I'm just going to go off of what this clip is here. Now since I want the clip relatively close to the edge, I'm just going to choose an arbitrary place to draw a line. Now, my line here is in pencil. I can see perfectly fine, but to make it easier for you guys, I'll use a paint marker and then draw a nice clear line. Alright, so I have my line here. I'm going to use a grinder. Now this is just going to be a freehand cut. This gutter is aluminum, so there's not going to be any sparks, and aluminum is also a fairly soft metal, so this should go by pretty quick. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the angle grinder and then cut my line here. Alright, for when you cut the gutter, make sure that you have earplugs and safety glasses on. So one thing to also take note, how this area has been damaged, has been pulled outward. So by cutting a nice new area, we have a proper shape to go off of. So this needs to get ground down as well. So I'm just going to take the grinder and clean up the bits that are left. All right, so I'm going to use my old gutter here as a template. So from the very edge to the center is 14 5/8. So this is 14 5/8. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here, and then I'm going to trace all the way around it. When I go to cut this, I'm going to just go to the outside of my line. Remember, we want a tight fit. You can't be any farther out than this, because if you cut way out here, then you're going to have a big space, and then you're just going to have a leak very quickly. All right, so this is what I'm going to cut out. And guys, it always doesn't hurt just to compare what you've done here with the old one there before you go ahead and cut this. All right, so we have our hole. So we'll take a file and clean up the edges. All right, so we have our hole. Now we'll test our plastic piece to see how well it fits. And it fits relatively well. Remember, we want a tight fit because the only thing that's going to seal around here is going to be silicone. Alright, so this is where I'm going to clean off. Make sure that you don't have any high spots like this here. So take a hammer in my case, because this is small, and then I'm going to tap this down. But make sure there are no high spots, because that's going to create a space between the bottom here and the actual gutter itself. So what I'm going to do is I'll tap this down with a hammer all the way around. Any burrs, any high spots, take a file, clean it all out. And then I'm going to also wipe this down so my silicone will be sticking to bare metal without any debris underneath. Alright, so I washed this area down here, I washed this down here. Make sure that there's no debris so your silicone is sticking to actual material. So I'm going to first, I'm going to put my end cover on. So I'm going to just put silicone down around this groove. Now, every time I've ever done anything with gutters or anything outside, it doesn't matter what sealant I've used, in a few years it's always leaked. Guys, again, this is DIY, this isn't professional. I don't have the knowledge or the access to professional products, but all I'm going to do is put a nice bead of silicone all the way around. So it doesn't matter which way you put it on, but make sure that you put silicone all the way around the bottom. Okay, so we'll do the same thing for this side. I'll cut this with the grinder. I'll clean up the edge and then silicone the end piece on. Alright, so I've given the silicone some time to dry, so I'm going to put my offset back on, and you can see the screw hole here, right where my thumb is, and I'll put the screw back in later on once the gutter is hanging with grade. Alright, so I put the gutter in and push the bottom here all the way down. So if we look down the line, we have plenty of grade. So what I did was The second elastic clip down there, I put one screw in just to hold it in place, and then I also put this in here to set the grade. So now I'm going to start putting in my clips. Alright, with that one screw in, I'm gonna go back to the other side. I'm gonna take that one out. I'm gonna fix the grade on my gutter because this has so much. Now, this is also a very short run, so whether you have lots of grade or not doesn't really matter here. But for longer runs, you'll want less slope, a shallower pitch, to make sure that you run, or sorry, make it all the way to the end of your run. Alright, so with our grade set, we'll now put in remaining screws. So I have one left here, I've got one left here, and then that will be it for this run. Alright, make sure the gutter is nice and tight so there's no play. But there's play here, so just give it a little bit more. Give it a shake. Everything seems good. So the very last thing I'm going to do is put a 3/4 screw into the downspout into the plastic bracket, the cage, and that'll be it for this job. Alright guys, so that concludes this job. So as I said, when it comes to sealants, I mean, I use silicone, but everything that I've ever used, so I've used gutter sealants, roofing sealants, I've used different stuff, and everything has managed to leak in a couple of years. I don't know how they actually do this when it comes to professional. I know they do have a welder to make a seamless gutter, but for a DIYer, I mean, silicone will keep you going for a couple of years, and it'll be up to you if you want to replace it or not. But this is a simple job that you can do on your own for the most part, as long as accessibility is not an issue. The time on this job, the time was about 2 hours. That was to take off the old gutter, cut the size the new one, put on the ends, put on the screen for the downspout, and then reassemble the gutter. Guys, also make sure that you give the silicone some time to dry, because if it's still wet and you start moving things around, then you can break the seal and have a leak right away. The cost of this job. So the plastic screen and the two end pieces and screws, I'd say the cost in my case was about $10 because I got the gutter from a demoed house. But for something this small, I would say less than $100 without actually looking at anything. But this was a relatively small, straightforward job. I'm glad to get this out of the way now before it starts raining this upcoming season. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope something here is going to help you on your project when you need to go ahead and do that. Guys, till next time, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next project.